How's it going, guys? It's been a while. I tied the knot a couple of times, actually. Same girl, but two different weddings, so that's why I've been a little bit preoccupied. Been off for probably about a month now, so I do apologize for that, but we're going to get right into it. So today we are talking about pouches, and more specifically what to do if you can't find the pouch, that specific pouch that you're looking for. I'm sure we've all been there. You're looking for something, for whether it be a med pouch or pouches for camera gear or whatever it is that you need. It's pretty difficult sometimes, and if you're like me, you're gonna scour the internet looking for the right size pouch with the right design, the right layout that fits your specific needs. And that kind of then fast forward to where my mind went, of course, being someone that likes to make things a lot, was, well, maybe I can just make my own. And what we're going to talk about today is not going to be necessarily the in-depth, step-by-step making that I usually do. It's going to be more of a discussion around the pros and cons of making your own pouches, some things to consider, whether it's worth doing ultimately is probably the answer, the question we're going to answer today. And just some things that I've learned along the way making my own pouch, and I've done this in the past, so making pouches, the things I've learned, the tools you need, the materials you need, and some of the reasons why it's worth making and a lot of the reasons why it's not. This is a canvas, so this is a waxed cotton canvas made in the UK actually. And it's not the typical material you'll use for a pouch like this. Most tactical pouches are cordura. I don't know how you say it. Basically polyester. This is like a really cheap Amazon nonsense one. Very rarely are pouches made with cotton nowadays. I think that's a combination of polyester being stronger, probably more tear resistant, I suspect. It's hard to say. I don't know. I might be making that up. But the most important thing is it's cheaper. And it's easier to work with, at least I think so anyway. It doesn't have that fraying that can happen with cotton. You can easily burn the edges of polyester and it's not going to fray, so there's a lot of benefits. But if you follow me, if you know me at all, you know that I'm a leather worker, so I like natural materials, I like quality, old school things that aren't, I don't like plastic. I'm trying to keep away from plastic as much as possible. On the topic of working with the material, the first question will probably be, do you need an industrial sewing machine for making things like this? I've shown before that you can easily sew through canvas, you can sew through thin leathers, you can sew through a lot of things with a normal commercial machine, especially if you get something like a Singer heavy duty, a couple of $100, and it's going to easily go through it. The main issue I noticed with this particular thing with making pouches is that when you're doing pouches, you are typically having to make sewn seams, and the seams just a little bit tricky to get to with a normal machine, and more importantly, you're really having to kind of force it through to get that seam sewn down. And one of the issues that could be caused there if you don't have a walking foot that's applying pressure is it can very easily slip. So yes, you can do it with a normal machine, it's just going to be a bit harder. The zipper I have here is a YKK. I only use YKK zippers. I'm a snob like that, and honestly, they're not that expensive. If you go to the local sewing supply here in Toronto, they sell these really, really cheap, much cheaper than other suppliers. I won't name names. The mistake I made on this one is that I've used a brass zipper, which I typically use on stuff because I think it looks cool and it's rugged, it's never going to wear down. But the issue I would say with something like a trauma kit like this is, you want to be able to really open it quickly. So I would suggest in this case, it'd be better to have a dual, like a two-way zipper that you can easily open. Whenever I set up my med kits in my first response work that I do, I'll talk about that in a minute, I always like to put the two zippers in the middle. And this was taught to me by someone more experienced than myself, because then you know where it is, so whether you get this out of your bag this way or this way, it doesn't matter. You don't have to fumble trying to find which end the zipper's on. You always know because it's in the middle. But also it's just quicker because you can just grab and open it all in one go. So you've probably already seen, or if not, I'll put it on the screen now, roughly how I made this. I didn't record every single step, but you'll get a general idea, and I will upload the pattern for this on the website. It'll be completely free if you want to download it and make the same pouch, at least to give it a shot and give you a starting point to work from. The most important thing that I learned when it comes to the process of making a pouch, it's all about the order of operations of how you do it. And what I worked out was that you had to sew this edge piece, including the back, all in one before you attach any of the front and back. Like, you have to make sure the side is all continuous, which seems illogical to begin with. You think you would add like the back piece on after or something like that, but it just doesn't work out that way, because you have to also sew what I would call the hinge to the zip. If you don't do that, then the zip's loose and it starts to flap around and you have all sorts of issues. You then have to obviously make sure it's inside out, attach your outer piece, and then if you have an inner piece as well, which I think you should, then you're going to attach that. But before you attach it, you're obviously going to sew on any of the attachments that you have. So you're going to sew on your elastic, you're going to sew down the hems of your pockets, things like that. And then you're going to attach those, and then finally there's kind of like a last seam. There's a final seam that you're going to sew. I like to sew it first, just as it is, and then I fold a piece of canvas over the top and then sew it again to prevent fraying and to make it a bit more rigid and a bit tidier. That's the outside pretty much. Let's just talk about the design of this specific pouch now, and in doing so, hopefully you'll get some insight into kind of how to make your own, I think. So from the outside, as I sort of touched on, there's nothing to distinguish the front and the back. So that's a big mistake, really, I would say, for a trauma kit. I will say this particular pouch is kind of like not a finished design. It's kind of like a prototype in a way. So having some kind of, whether it be a typical way of doing it, which is having Velcro on the front with a patch, or having a pocket on one side, just anything to distinguish the two. The way I designed this actually was that it would be, if this could be, have a backing, and then you'd have a strap that comes over that clips, so then you can just unclip that from your bag and this will drop out. That's kind of where my mind was at when I designed this, but who knows? Like I say, this isn't a final design. Of course, tourniquet on the top for a quick access. The mistake I made here was I made these little straps a little bit too small, so it's a little bit tough to get the tourniquet out. I think in a pinch, in a real situation, I'd just be yanking this and I'd probably be breaking those off. This is not supposed to be a trauma kit or IFAK or whatever you want to call it video. What I will say, the only thing that I will say about this is I've seen a lot of people creating videos about individual first aid kits, a lot of people that don't have medical training, and all I'll say is they're quite often carrying stuff that they're not trained to use. And just to give you some background, I'm not a paramedic, but I am a medical first responder, and I only carry what I'm trained to use. So yes, I carry an NPA because I know how to use it and I've been trained to use it. I don't carry a, needle decompression kit, because I have no idea how to use that and I don't intend to. So just something to be aware of. All I can say and recommend is get as much training as you possibly can. If nothing else, go to a Stop the Bleed course. They're like $50 and you'll learn what you need when it comes to hemorrhage control, which is, people always think hemorrhage control is like the only part of emergency or trauma first aid, and to be honest, it's the main part, but it's not the only part. There's other emergencies that you might encounter as well, so most of mine currently is geared towards that, but not entirely. Basically, the way I designed this pouch is to just maximize configurability. So here, I have my trauma bandage, compression bandage, which is the main thing you're going to grab if you have a main bleed other than your tourniquet. But under here, there's also secondary elastic, which you could use for smaller things as well. So this is quite configurable. It doesn't look like it because everything's fixed, but really it's quite there's a lot of options as to what you mount and what size you mount, which is something that I think is quite often missing from the commercial kits that you buy. So anyway, this video has been a little bit all over the place, but ultimately, would I recommend making your own pouch versus buying one? Particularly, you know, the made in the USA pouches, or made in North America, or made in Europe, wherever you're located, if you're trying to buy local, can be very expensive. And I always wondered why they were so expensive. I thought it was more of just a supply-demand kind of thing, until I tried to make my own, and I realized why they're so much more expensive than the Chinese ones, the ones that are the cheap mass-produced versions. And that's because there is a surprising amount of work involved, lots of different steps when it comes to making pouches. This is something I would say to do if it's a labor of love, if you want something a bit unique, if you really cannot find something that fits your need. You know, like me, you want to use natural materials and you can't find a good canvas pouch, then you can make your own. Like, there's lots of reasons to do it, and I don't want to dissuade you from doing it, because I think it's a fun little project. You're definitely going to learn a few things. It's going to add some skills to your toolkit. It's going to give you options, and you're going to have something you're proud of. Just don't think that because it looks simple and easy, that it's simple and easy. Anyway, that I think is probably enough for today. It's a lot of just talking and kind of going back and forth, but hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was useful. If so, please don't forget to drop this video a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all future videos so you can get new ideas, new projects, new things to try every single video, which is roughly every single week, or at least that's the intention. Till next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.